Girl, I know you're thinking, the guy lives in Madagascar and has barely any pictures. You've never spoken to him on the phone or even FaceTime. Didn't you see the red flag? Hello humans, potatoes, spuds, and everything else marvelous that exists in this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful realm. My name is Jusmina and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and come and join the potato community, and if you have, then thank you, because it really helps out my channel, like seriously guys. So it has been a while since I've actually gone on camera and like spoken to you guys, you know, face to face, me and you and I. But today I thought I would bless you guys with a story time. Now, this story, where do I even start? Many suns ago, when the stars were in the sky, when the sea was waving, and the wind... Okay, so this story time is based around the time when I was in secondary school. I believe at the time I was like 14 years old. Yeah, I think I was I 14? Yeah. I think at the time I had 14 years of age. And 14-year-old me was an interesting individual. But this is not what the story time is about, okay? At this time, like during, you know, the era I was living in, there's this type of guy that every single, well, okay, not every single girl, but at least girls that I knew in my secondary school or, you know, from other secondary schools, it was like the era of the Tumblr people. Like, you know, there was the Tumblr girl, the Tumblr guy. Like, I'll use some exhibits over here in case you guys don't know what the heck I'm talking about. But Tumblr guy was ideally like, you know, the typical, usually American guy. Every time I even remember the term Tumblr guy, it makes me cringe so much. I cannot believe I was the percentage of individuals that was indulging in that, but anyway, we grow. We grow. So this story starts one afternoon when I go back home and I receive a friend request from a guy. And at the time I did have a lot of, you know, I did have a lot of strangers on Facebook. Like, it was a thing where people were just adding random people. I don't know why. I think it was the whole, like, you know, being able to say, oh, yeah, I've got 1,000 followers. It was kind of like, you know, the way on Instagram now it's really popular for people to have lots of followers. It was kind of the same thing on Facebook, but with friends. So I wasn't a constant always adding random people. Anyway, so I received this friend request from this dude, and, you know, when I saw the profile picture, Mark skipped the beat. I couldn't believe my eyes. I could not believe my eyes. I saw the person, I was like, no flipping way did this person just message me. So I called myself, well, no, they didn't message me yet. Oh, this is me spoiling the story before the story is even finished. Anyway, yes. So I was getting gas already. Like, I saw the friend request, I was getting happy. Oh my gosh, girl. But I didn't say anything. So time went on, and then, you know, the guy started liking my pictures and, you know, commenting on my photos. And you know when people do that to each other, you know, when you're trying to slide through the DMs before you actually slide through, you kind of give those, you know, the little I like you, you know, I'm kind of feeling you kind of thing by liking and commenting, etc. So that's what was happening at the time. But I didn't give it too much like attention. I didn't even mention anything to my friends at the time because I didn't even know what they would say. Like, yeah. So anyway, the more I saw the guy, like, you know, liking my stuff and then he started commenting, I became curious of this guy. So I went on his profile and I was just like, I was like, who is this fine looking man that was trying to slide through? I was just like, you know what, if this guy drops me a message, I'm about to lose it. So I waited, and it was the back and forth. I would go and like his pictures, and then I grew enough confidence to start commenting on his pictures as well. Now, just for some context, this guy was like, how I went to go and check his legitimacy, let's call it, was because he was part of those, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was an era, just remembering it makes me want to vomit. It was an era where people on Facebook did this whole like dark skin versus light skin, and then light skin versus dark skin, and then brown skin versus light. It was like this dumb like thing. Like it was like a really popular thing at the time. So there was a lot of these pages and you could sign up to them and all that kind of stuff. And basically what they would do is they would grab your picture and it would be like a dark skinned girl and light skinned girl, and they would put it next to each other and say, oh, who's hotter, the dark skin or light skin? And you would go to the comment section, and then most people favoring light skin, and you would see a lot of like nasty comments about the dark skinned girl. Didn't matter whether she was pretty or not. So I'm not gonna lie, me taking part, because yeah, as much as I cringe, unfortunately I used to go and send my pictures on these pages as well. You know, when you're 14, like you just, I don't know, especially me, like I don't know where I was. Like, yeah, 14-year-old me was a mess. Like, she was an emotional, mental mess. That's all I'm going to say. And you know, when you're like 14, especially when you're going through teenagehood, some people, they do experience it. I definitely went through that, which was kind of doing whatever, like to just kind of get people's attention, and it was just, yeah, it wasn't it. Anyway, I'm not gonna judge my younger self. At the end of the day, I was a child. And for anyone who's 14 years old watching this video, or that's going to see this video, don't ever like beat yourself up too much about the mistakes or the certain spaces or places you were whilst you were growing up, because at the end of the day, you're growing up every single day. I'm 24 years old and I'm still growing. Okay, I'm still developing, I'm still rediscovering and finding out things about myself that I didn't even knew I was either capable of or able to do. So don't be too harsh on your younger self. You know, your younger self is still a version of you, and now you're just a better version of yourself. So don't judge her, right? She was a baby. Anyway, going back to my story. A couple of months had passed of the whole like back and forth, and I think people in my secondary school started noticing like, who's this guy? But at the time he hadn't even dropped me a message yet. Let's call him Jay, okay? I'm gonna call him Jay because I don't want no legal problems with the cases, but I don't know whether we'll get into the story. But anyway, yeah. So Jay, at the time, after a couple of weeks, he had messaged me. I'm not even gonna lie to you. When I received that message, the way I screamed, so embarrassing. Every single time I remember it. Anyway, I was gassed. I was over the moon. I was just like, okay, so he wants a piece of me. So I was like, okay, so you know, let me respond. Exactly. So I played my own little game. Anyway, yeah. So he messaged me, and then I messaged him back, and then we started talking back and forth, and we would talk literally every single day, like every single day. Like in the morning, in the afternoon, he would wish me good morning, he would say good up. We were basically like boyfriend and girlfriend at that point, without officializing anything or without even saying like, oh yeah, we're a couple now. Okay, boom. So that happens. During that time period though, I started noticing that a lot of people that I knew had their speculations of the situations. I mean, I've heard literally people saying that, you know, I'm lying, like how could I be in a relationship with that person, that I created the profile, that I was messaging myself on socials. And then like the moment he decided, because he did message me and he said, okay, I want you to be my girlfriend, let's try and make this official. You know what really, you know, I had to quickly pause the video because I was just reminiscing on this entire situation. My question is, how did people really think I had the time to message myself, direct message myself every single day? It was beyond me. Like, I can understand if a person like is whatever attention seek, whatever it is, yeah. But the fact that people actually thought I was out here messaging myself for the sake of trying to show that I've got some kind of relationship on social media was a mazzoline. And yeah, sorry, this is why I had to quickly just pause the video just for me to say that, because like, you know, Facebook official. So I was like, alright, cool. Maybe then people might actually like leave me alone and actually believe that this is like for real. So we became Facebook official, and like quite a lot of people put a like on it. But if anything, like people's comments on the situation, I could be wrong, but from what I had heard at the time, a lot of people had their 2 cents about a situation they knew nothing about. Some people even confirmed that they apparently had seen him in person and that he was real. And apparently they've spoken to him, which was very interesting to me because the guy lived in Madagascar.
Stop the cap.
Stop the count right now! Stop the count! Exactly what you heard. The guy lived in Madagascar, so I was a bit confused when people said to me that they saw him in Westfields. 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 We're talking about Westfields, okay? Westfields here in the UK, the shopping centre. You saw him here when he lives in Madagascar. Alright. Let me not get too much into, you know, what people said, because at the end of the day I didn't give two mosquitoes. Like, I was the only person who lived what happened, who knew exactly what had happened. And thankfully I had friends, you know, Becky, shout out to you, be my friend since, yeah, you know, were the only people who actually believed me, as obviously I could show. But yeah, anyway, so going back to the story, the guy started commenting, people started making their speculations, and then it got to a point where people were messaging him, and he said to me like, oh, that there's friends of yours, he said to me that there's friends of mine that are messaging him to say whether he's real or whether the profile was real. I saw like half of my, not half of my school, but some people from my school literally added him on Facebook. It got to a point where I started doubting the whole thing. And girl, I know you're thinking, the guy lives in Madagascar and has barely any pictures. You've never spoken to him on the phone or even FaceTime. Didn't you see the red flags? Yeah, I saw the red flags. I was 14 years old. I chose to ignore them. Okay, I saw those flags. I chose to ignore them. Anyway, so, you know, after a while and after, you know, hearing comments from people and hearing what people had to say regarding the situation, I started questioning it myself. So I started messaging the guy saying that, you know, I'd like you to send me photos of you, and the photos that he would send me are pictures that were on these like light skin versus dark skin pages, which are pictures that I've already seen. Like none of the pictures that he could send me were like real-time photos. And that's when I started getting a bit like weird. And obviously back then I was like, okay, if the case is you are real, can we go on MSN? Okay, you guys know about MSN, you know, back in the day, that was iMessenger. All right, MSN was the iMessenger from back in my day. I'm saying back in my day like this was 50 years ago. But anyway, yes. So when he saw that I was being a little bit pushy in terms of verifying whether he was a real person or not, I started seeing the guy withdrawing. So the morning text stopped, the afternoon text stopped, like the texting just stopped altogether until one day he just stopped texting me. I just saw that he dropped the relationship status on Facebook, and I went back, because I remember I came back from school and I went back on my Facebook and saw that he removed it, and saw that people were liking, like there was actual people from my year group that went to that post and liked it because the relationship ended. Like, what have I done to you? Anyway, yeah, so I ignored it. I didn't really say anything about it, and obviously since then I never heard from the guy again. And I'm 100% sure up until today, because I've tried, trust me, I've tried to find him on Facebook, not on Facebook, but you know, back when I used to have Facebook, I tried to find him several times just to search up the name, and nothing would show up. Even as an adult, out of curiosity, like I've still like tried to go back on socials to see if I can even locate anyone who had that name or anyone who was related to that, but nothing. Like this person, it's like they came into my life and they just vanished like an absolute ghost. And that, yeah, that was a scary moment in my life. Thankfully I had never like spoken to him like in anything, you know, inappropriate. It was more so like good morning and all that stuff. But like imagine I had like these kind of convos with this person, and I don't even know what they look like. I've never seen him. I don't even know if he's real. And I was entertaining this whole thing, and trust me, I didn't learn from that moment. I have plenty of stories, girl. I did not learn my lesson when that happened. Anyway, that's a story for a different day. If you guys want to hear more stories or any of my other stories, comment down below and I will definitely make sure that you guys will see this kind of content more. But yeah, so after that had happened, to be honest, I couldn't be asked to be explaining anything to anyone. At the time, most people didn't like me in secondary school anyway. So, you know, I didn't need, to be fair, I didn't need to explain anything to anyone besides my friends and people who genuinely cared about me. So that's how that story ended. So Moral of the story is, guys, don't just be messaging people on social media or be talking to people. I know it's very difficult, especially when you feel lonely or you feel like you don't have anyone, for you to fall into the trap of speaking to someone that you're not even sure they exist. Just, you know, put yourself first. Think about yourself before you make that decision. You know, just some advice from little old me. That would be the end of this story. It's a very short story. If you guys want to see more story times, like this video so I know you guys like this kind of content. I will do my best to do story times more often because I don't really do them, and I think I should because I've got so many stories to tell. But yes, thank you very much for watching this video, guys. If you like this video, give me the thumbs up. You know, subscribe to my channel. It's absolutely free. Like, seriously, it's free. Literally, it costs zero pence to subscribe to me. So press that button down below and help a child out. Well, not a child. I'm still a child of God, but you get my point. But yes, thank you for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you guys next week with another story time.